So I'm Kurt Nielsen. I'm the president of or one of the co-founders of the Partisia Blockchain project. And as you heard, this is about bringing really advanced cryptography to everyone out there. So we want to simplify that by making it very simple to use with the smart contracts on this blockchain. So what it really is all about is to showcase how to use this network in a simple way. And to do that, we have been deliberately chosen to work on selected flagship projects, which is solving some of the big problems that we have in our world. And we chose the United Nations SDG goal as a way of giving us direction of what to focus on. And this is one of the projects. So this is about a humanitarian token system. And to kick this off, we'll have Vincent Graf from the International Committee of Red Cross to introduce what we are doing. And then we'll come back and showcase what we are doing.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you. All right, hi everybody. Thanks for being here today. So the International Committee of the Red Cross, it has a Red Cross name in it. That's one component of the Red Cross. And we are the international organization which acts in conflict zones, right? So where there's a war, that's where we go and provide humanitarian services. As an organization, we are quite old, almost 160 years now, and quite large nowadays, right? So over 20,000 staff worldwide today. We operate in more than 100 countries, and we have a budget of about 2.5 billion Swiss francs yearly for operations. So not a small NGO, sorry, it's a large international organization. As such, we have a special legal status, right? So we operate under our own jurisdiction. In international organization world, this is called privilege and immunities. So again, it means that we are, for example, we don't have to provide evidence in legal proceedings in countries where we operate. And we usually have, with the nations and the places where we operate, we agree on terms and conditions, which we call headquarters agreements. So that's very important because it really means that we're not under, for example, GDPR or this kind of legislations. But at the same time, it gives us, of course, a huge responsibility, right, to make sure that whatever we do abides by these principles, which are clearly neutrality, impartiality, and independence in the right way, right? The way we work is also on a confidential and bilateral dialogue. So when we go in the field, wherever that is, now of course there is Ukraine, but there's also Yemen, Syria, still Iraq. We've been more than 30 years in Afghanistan, for example. The conflict still happens there. And keeping confidentiality for more than 30 years in a conflict is not an easy task. And we've been doing that, again, 160 years in the physical world by talking to people, going to places and shaking hands and gaining trust this way. But more and more, of course, as well, we are using digital tools. And here comes really the difficulty. What does it mean to be neutral independent? What does it mean to have confidentiality in the digital world? One other thing we do, a big thing we do, actually, the majority of our budget goes to so-called humanitarian assistance. So we give away goods, food, shelters, and things like that. But more and more, we actually give cash and vouchers, right? So I put a couple of numbers here. Within a few years, we doubled up, not us, worldwide, right? Humanitarian assistance doubled up to reach almost 6 billion, and 20% of total assistance is done via cash or vouchers, which really means we transfer value to a point that people can use themselves. And the reasons are, it's been demonstrated now for decades and more, that for affected communities, having the possibility to choose when and what they procure with what we give them is a lot better. It also provides a lot more dignity to the affected populations. And lastly, it can restart the economy to a point, right? So again, moving from telling you what you have to eat, I'm giving you rice, oil, etc., to saying, I actually trust you and we will restart, perhaps a little bit of economy and a market by I give you the cash or the vouchers you can do yourself. And we have many ways of doing that. So in some places, we actually literally give away banknotes to people, cash in envelope, we call it. In some other places, there are printed vouchers, which says, this voucher is worth for 3, whatever the unit is, to go to merchants. In some areas, we use prepaid credit cards that can be used in merchants, or they are just other type of smart cards. So all these tools work in certain contexts, right? And we want to keep them. But at the same time, they all have some limitation when we are into the most harsh conditions where the population might be at risk of when they share any of their personal information. To come back to what Ivan was saying, sharing your personal information might be a problem, but in some of the places we operate, it's really life or death within the next few days, right? So in certain areas, we really have to pay very special attention to not share any data. Now, cash as such is the best and the most attractive way of doing this assistance, right? Because it does provide anonymity and privacy. At the moment you get cash, you go away and you can change things. But it has some high protection risks, of course, because when you are seen going out of an office from the ICRC with your pile of money, perhaps not a pile, but at least some, it gives you risks. And we also have to bring that money to the office in the first place. And some government actually don't want to give us the ability to bring cash in places because they're also scared of what it can bring. But that being said, it is the highest, let's say, the most attractive form of providing assistance to the people. So our objective here was to say, we have to have a digital mean now, one that protects better, and we want to do something which is as close as cash in terms of providing anonymity. And that's where we started with our initial requirements. That's basically, we don't want to keep any of the people's identity once we have started the distribution. And we'll get back in more detail with Kurt after, I'm sure. So why do we want to do a blockchain? Because to be honest, at the ICRC and in Humanitarian, we don't have the resources you guys have, right? So we only have limited resource in tech. And for a while, we were really scared by blockchain, to be honest. And we've also seen pretty bad projects going on and pilots that were really scary. But in this case here, we really decided to move with the blockchain because we have that set of requirements that naturally brought us to a blockchain solutions. One of the most important element, I think, is both the way we would be accepted in an area where third-party financial providers would accept us and accept we do not share the list of beneficiaries. And with that in mind, we iterated our thinking, and typically what we have to do here is to guarantee that we have a total control of the inflow. So we mint our token ourselves, we own the token, and a total control of the outflow the same way. So whenever somebody will cash out the tokens for fiat currency, which has to be supported, we must have a solution where we can demonstrate to the authorities and regulators that we're not like a currency that brings again problems of KYC, etc. So we're really walking on a thin line where on one end we want the high tech, we want the capacity of blockchain token type of things, but also we have to make sure that this doesn't break the trust we have from the government. We also have a lot of operational constraints, which are hard as well. As I said, in many countries you don't have internet or it's not reliable. But here, at some point you have to say, look, if we want to go full digital, we have to rely on some kind of technology, but that's something to keep in mind. What does it mean when your community doesn't have the capacity to have a modern phone, they cannot really install a wallet and so forth. So a lot of complicated requirements which we exposed to Partisia and said, can you guys help us with this challenge? Because we think that solution existing on the market cannot fulfill our requirements. And that's how we started the journey a while back already now.
Yeah. I think it's September 21 actually. Thanks, man. Thank you, Vincent. We really like these requirements. This is a tough problem to solve. So let's have a look at what we have been, how we are thinking about this problem, how we try to solve this with the Partisia blockchain. So let's start by the top. So this is really about creating this token that is used as humanitarian aid. So it's about creating trust in a token. So you can imagine like a stable coin you're creating. So you have now, instead of sending out cash directly to people, you put cash into a banking account. You create trust around this money, the existing of this money. You mint tokens that is reflecting the value of this money. And then you create a token economy. So here you have the two that you, at the top management, they can create the trust, they can create the tokens, they can delegate these tokens to the country offices. So what we are focusing on here is to create the token economy down here at the country office. So down here it's really about input and output to a token economy. So we are having beneficiaries that is getting these tokens, and they start to use the token as a means of payment. And for what is really creating the trust that we created from the top is the option of redeeming these tokens, moving back to fiat that is backed by the token. With that in place, you have now a digital solution for this. And we can go back to the real challenge, which is to actually do this privacy preserving. So that's what we're doing. We have, since we're also operating in developing countries, we have two types of users. We have someone with a phone. We have also people that without a phone, and they just get a QR code. And this is how we start the economy, the token economy. Now we can start trading goods and services for these tokens. So going back to the input-output, on the input side we have the beneficiaries with a smartphone that is now trading with other people that is also downloading the app and using that on a smartphone. And then we have the people that is using the QR codes. So that's in the token economy. And then we have the option of redeeming your token back into fiat, which is on this side. So you have designated merchants. You have that anyone could actually become a part of the traditional financial system and redeem token this way around. So that's what is creating the token economy. We didn't talk about privacy, so that's coming up now. And to illustrate this, we are looking at this transaction example. So we have Alice, a beneficiary. We have Bob, who is the ordinary user. And then we have the ICRC, who is putting money into the system, donating tokens to the beneficiaries. We have a blockchain here, smart contract that is managing this service. So now let's look at the traditional blockchain. The one that is not working, I'll try to explain why it's not working. So this is a pseudonymized use of token. So here we have that Alice is now A, and so we have that the International Committee of Red Cross, they know Alice. They also know the replacement of Alice with an A, so they can track all the transactions that Alice is doing. We have that this is a transparent public blockchain, so you can follow all the pseudonymized use. So you could out there in the reality, in the real world, sort of do some pattern recognition. You can stand there and see people are buying stuff and look at the ledger and see if you can match it up. And we talked about like 30 years of privacy in Afghanistan. This is not going to work. There will be a lot of revelation of the matches between the actual person and the wallets or the account on the blockchain. So that is not a good solution. This is the perfect solution. So here we have we bring in now the zero knowledge computation, the NPC solution. So we now have that everything that was happening now in the public is happening in the private. So it's all of these transactions now in a black box. So that gives now the International Red Cross, they know who the money is given to, but they don't know anything about the transactions that is happening inside of this black box. So that might also conflict with some of the requirements for the solutions, because we also want some transparency about what is actually happening among the transactions. Then you have that this is an MPC solution, so you can do any computations on these secret shared data that you have here. So that could also be audit. They could do some audit, or they could agree, the parties that running this system, they could agree to do some aggregated use of these tokens. So that could be solved. The problem with this one, and the one that we are looking at, is to make this scalable. Because as we know, there is an overhead when you're introduced, advanced cryptography like this. So we need to address this to make it run as fast as possible. There's a number of solutions that we are looking at to address this. One of these solutions is actually to minimize the use of the black box. So now we are only in this solution using that black box to the deposit. So now the International Committee of Red Cross, they go and they submit these deposit or the beneficiaries, the token to the beneficiaries, like to 1,000 or 2,000 beneficiaries into this black box. And now the beneficiaries, they go in and do this private deposit into the public blockchain. So now in the blue here, we're actually back to the traditional blockchain. So everything is transparent here. But now there's no way sort of to link what is who is actually moving into the public transactions. So we do solve something. We still have that issue with the pattern recognition, that you could stand there and look at what is happening out here and connect the persons to the wallets. So that we need to address. The solution that we're looking at here is that every time you do a deposit and you sort of decide what the size of that deposit is, we replace the wallet. So you move that into a new wallet, and and that can be done. The network is supporting this. The critical thing that we're looking at is how to do what is the business logic of now managing many wallets and without disclosing the identity along the way. So this is a solution that is scalable and that has a lot of transparency. You can actually follow all of the transactions, and through the replacement of the wallets, you have this obfuscation. You cannot connect back to the users, or you have very few transactions to do that. And if you do that, then there's a new wallet shortly after. This is one of the solutions that we're going to assess at the end of the project to see if they meet all the requirements for privacy and also scalability and practical use. So that's basically the solution that we are working on, and we're now going to showcase it. This is just a picture of the infrastructure that you're all working on here at the hackathon. So we have the Partisia Blockchain Network, we have the public network, we have the private network. Then you have some applications that is working on top of this. And in this case, we have a desktop, which is the International Committee of Red Cross that is assigning beneficiaries to the system. And we have the users that is sitting there with a smartphone. So this is what we are now going to showcase. And Mila will take us through this.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So we would like to present you how the user becomes known to the system and how he's actually linked to his record in the system. So the user will have an app, and it will be possible for him to trade tokens back and forth through the app, and they will have a profile. Through the profile, they are able to identify themselves by providing their information. Some people might be very insecure about providing their real information, so they can fake it. And you will see in a moment what happens with it next. So he made himself known. He can also add an identity document, but he doesn't have to. He will hand in that data, and from now on he will also get an ID on his account. Now, when this happened, the sub-delegation will go into their system, and they will have a person either coming to the office trying to identify themselves as a beneficiary, or they will call, and they will do it over the phone. The list that you see now, it's a list of beneficiaries that is a spreadsheet that might be taken from the government, so they are actually already beneficiaries. They don't become one, they are just verified as one. And what we have to do, we have to connect their wallet with the record in the system. So we have Peter Parker right here, and we can link him. We can do it if he came to the office, we can do it physically. If he's calling to us, we can do it through the remote option. So when he's in the office, he will get one of those cards So there will be a bunch of cards like this, and they will be able to withdraw one and say, I want this to be my wallet, and please connect me to my WeCard. So therefore, this will be some kind of scanner, QR scanner, which will be an external thing in the office to be able to scan it through. But for the purpose of the presentation, we'll scan it right like that, and we'll confirm that this is the person that we wanted to link. But if we do it through the app, so we have this person that downloaded the app before and he made himself known, we will link him remotely. And then we'll get a list of the beneficiaries that weren't connected to the record before. So he can say, in the app, I said that I'm Spider-Man, but actually I'm Peter Parker, and this is my real address, this is my phone number. Can you please connect me to my record? They can also put the identity document here, and he's linked now. So when he's linked, he got his HTS ID, and he also gets his status of beneficiary. From now on, he can receive tokens from Red Cross, which will be visible right here, but he just became a beneficiary, so it's empty. We can also request tokens towards that person, so we can send him 200 tokens. And it's in pending now. So when we go to the transfers, we'll see that Peter Parker is supposed to get 200 tokens from Red Cross. And there is another department, which is the delegation. And the delegation is responsible for linking redeemers, and they can also approve the transfers that the sub-delegation requests. So the linking here is exactly the same process, either through physical way or online. And this person became a redeemer. The difference is that we need banking information to that person to be able to redeem the tokens when it's requested to do so. In the transfers approvals, we can see we have our Peter Parker right here. He's supposed to get 200 tokens. We can approve this. And he will receive them, which you will see now. Kurt, I need you for that.
Okay. Let me see, am I connected here?
Yeah. Okay. So, we will have an app. We will log in as Peter.
Wait a minute. Why is this not?
Yeah,
this is live.
Yeah, this is what we did till now. Yeah, so we have the account. The balance is 0 at the moment. And you will see the process again of introducing the information just because it's a live version. So I'll put the information and some phone number. So he made himself known. He got an ID. And so he has to, the money was deposited by the sub-delegation by requesting the transfer of tokens. So now when it was accepted, he actually has to withdraw that from the contract. So he has to click on that button and wait 15 seconds.
So I actually received one of these. So this is a QR code. I don't know what it contains, but maybe we can find out.
Yes. So you're going to buy the hat from me. And Kurt, at the moment, he's a card user. He doesn't have his phone. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, well, can I give me the, better get the money first.
Yeah, true that. Oh, wait, it's holding a lot. Yeah.
There you go.
So, because there is only one user that has a phone at that moment, he has to use mine to be able to trade the tokens. So I will pass him the phone.
All right. And you're selling me that hat, is that it?
Yes.
So do I need the PIN code? Oh, that's a very complicated PIN code for this one.
So for the security reasons, he has to enter his PIN code, but also he has to get into his account to be able to see the balance that he can trade.
Are we going to bargaining about this, or just give you 10?
Yeah.
Is that fine? That's it. Oh, yeah.
10 is good.
10 is good. All right. Here we go. I guess I have to do like this. They need a complicated PIN code here again. Continue. And
the token will pay.
you need to go back and you need to log in again?
Yes, I have to log in again because somebody else had my phone,
Yeah.
which means that just so he doesn't play with my account, I have to be back. And I got the 10 tokens. I had 200 before, I have 10 now. And now
Yeah, so maybe we could do another trade. So I could sell you this hoodie with the NFT, and yeah, let's see what is that going to cost? Maybe double off 20 or something.
Okay. Great.
You will have this. You have to scan this one. Yes.
I have to scan this, and I have to put the 20 in. That's the price that Kurt gave for for the hoodie.
Let me.
And now my balance is 190.
Okay.
And Kurt is
so it seems like I received my token, so you can have your hoodie.
Thank you very much.
And
and we can also see the transactions history on the profile. How much we spent, how much we received.
Perfect. Should we go back to the slide deck to round up? So this was a live demo. We are in the midst of this project, which is where we are developing this MVP solution version of this system. And this project started in September this year, and we will have the final solution by the, it's actually on that slide here. We'll have a final solution for the MVP in February. And but as Vincent mentioned, this started actually a lot longer earlier. So I think the first meeting was in September 2021, actually. So it takes time to sort of understand the requirements and discuss all what is really required to solve this problem. So that's what we are doing. We'll soon have an MVP, and then the hard work starts. The hard work about moving to the next level, which is to get a buy-in from stakeholders and work with the ICRC organization on how to bring this to the next step, on the next steps, and bring that to real life use. So with that, I think we are ready to conclude this talk. And if you have any questions, please